On a summer morning in 1942, a United States Navy airship drifted in from the sea and came down in a quiet street in California. Its door hung open. Nobody was on board. The date was the 16th of August, 1942. America had been at war for 8 months, and the whole West Coast was watching the water for enemy submarines. You may have met wilder versions of this story: enemy agents, a secret capture at sea, a fight in the air. Almost none of that has any evidence behind it. The airship was called L-8. She was a blimp, a soft airship, a huge bag of helium with a small cabin hanging underneath it and an engine on each side. L-8 belonged to a Navy airship squadron based at Moffett Field, south of San Francisco. That morning she was flying from a small field on Treasure Island, out in the bay. Her work that day was a patrol. A patrol is a slow, careful search over the same stretch of water, again and again, looking for anything that should not be there. 2 officers flew her. Lieutenant Ernest Cody was in command. Ensign Charles Adams was the second man, and he had far more hours in airships than the officer in charge of him. A third man should have gone with them. Machinist's mate James Riley Hill was already aboard when Cody told him to get off, only minutes before takeoff. The reason was weight. Wet fog had soaked the great fabric bag overnight, and the water made the ship too heavy. Somebody had to stay behind. It was Hill. So, a little after 6 o'clock in the morning, L-8 lifted away from Treasure Island with 2 men aboard instead of 3 and turned out towards the open Pacific. For about an hour and a half, everything was ordinary. Then, out near the Farallon Islands, roughly 30 miles west of the city, the crew saw something on the water. An oil slick. That is a thin film of oil floating on the surface of the sea. In wartime, it could mean a submarine underneath, so Cody called the base by radio. His message said that he was investigating a suspicious oil slick and that the base should stand by. Boats near the islands watched the airship come down low and circle the spot. Then silence. L-8 missed the call she owed at 8 o'clock. She sent no distress signal at all. Her radio, examined later, was in perfect working order. The base called her for hours. Other aircraft went out to search the sea. The airship had simply gone quiet over the grey water, with 2 men aboard. Late that morning, people on the beach south of San Francisco looked up. L-8 was back. She was low and soft and sagging, sinking slowly towards the sand. She touched the beach. One of her 2 depth charges, the bombs and aircraft drops on submarines, shook loose and fell away. Lighter now, she rose again and crossed the cliffs. To drift means to move wherever the wind takes you, with nobody steering. She drifted over the houses, scraped a roof, tore down power lines, and settled in a quiet street in Daly City. Firemen ran to the cabin to pull the crew out. It was empty. The cabin under a blimp is called the gondola, and its door was open, hooked back so that it would stay open. Everything a frightened crew would take with them was still on board. The parachutes were untouched. The rubber life raft lay in its place, never opened. The airship itself had no serious damage. There was also a briefcase of secret papers. If the ship was going down, the crew were meant to throw it into the sea. It was still lying behind the pilot's seat. 2 life jackets were missing from the cabin. That proves little. Men who fly all day above cold water usually wear them. The ignition switches were still switched on. Most accounts say both engines were found stopped. Sources do not agree on why. Perhaps the crew slowed the ship to look down at the water. Nobody knows. The Navy's inquiry, its official investigation, heard witnesses for days. It ruled out fire, enemy attack, and the sea, and could say nothing more. Cody and Adams were never found. Stay with the channel. Next time, a pilot flies across the Pacific and never lands.